Welcome back to Wiseman Company, everyone. Ben here, and today we're going to be talking about the Ruger LCP MAX. Quite frankly, these types of guns have never gotten me excited, but everyone else seems to love them, mainly because they're easy to carry. They're less inconvenient to carry compared to a full-size or mid-size gun. And let's all say it together, something is better than nothing. To me, these guns have been snappy, unreliable, chambered in 380 or lower. I just haven't been really excited about them. They're just a band-aid for a potential really big problem. But before we talk all negative on this type of gun or the LCP MAX, I have to say this gun right here is changing my mind a little bit, and we'll get into that. But I want to start out with two questions for you guys before we get into specs and what I think about this gun. First question, when do you feel the need to carry a gun like, or this gun in particular, like the LCP MAX? When do you feel the need to do that? Please comment below. Second question, when do you feel the need to step up from a gun like the LCP MAX? For example, step up to a larger caliber, larger frame handgun. When do you feel like, okay, I can't get away with this, I'm gonna do this? Comment below. Really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I don't like, if you've noticed, I don't like to just review a gun. I wanna know the why. If a gun doesn't have a role for me, I get rid of it. I don't keep it. I have a very modest collection of firearms. I've gone through a lot of firearms in the years. And again, if it doesn't have a role, it's gone. I don't have a need for it. I want the tool to have a job. So those two questions, think about them and leave your answer down below. I am really curious to see what you guys think. Guys, before we go any further, wisemencompany.com. That's the best way to support us. That's our website. We have a ton of great gear over there. We got t-shirts, hats, all sorts of things. It's high quality products and it's fast shipping, and it directly supports us, and we appreciate every bit of that support. All right, let's get into the specs of this little guy on paper without even shooting it. If you're comparing it to previous models, Ruger has made leaps and bounds improving the LCP MAX. First of all, it's going to jump out to you, capacity, 10+1, although I would only run 10 in the gun because it's really hard to chamber the round when you're running 10+1 or insert the magazine on 10+1. So I run 10 and it seems to work just fine. So capacity, 10 rounds of 380, that's pretty much double compared to previous models. That is a great improvement. The grip is going to be a little larger, a little bit fatter, and that is an improvement. It's not huge, but it is something. And then there's something to say when you have a little bit more real estate for your hand. Next major improvement. On paper, this trigger is 5.5 to 6 pounds. Much better than previous models. Previous models were a double action only. The trigger was heavy, long. The journey was arduous to make the gun go off. This is much better. It's not the best trigger in the world, but it is certainly better. Next, the sights. Ruger was thinking with this one. They dovetailed these sights in, so you can change them if you wanted to, although the sights that come with it are really, really good. U-notch rear, high-vis front with Tritium. I don't really care about the night sight portion of it. Night sights don't do a whole lot for me, but the high-vis front is a nice touch. And again, you can swap them out if you wanted to. Unlike previous models, these sights are actually usable. Previous models, just kind of a trench with a little tiny piece of metal up front, and you made do with what you had. Back in my day, we didn't use sights. In the beginning, when we were talking about magazine capacity, grip's a little larger, a little fatter. We add a little bit more weight to the gun, 10.6 ounces. Barrel length is 2.8. This matters. I know it's a little bit, but again, it's a little bit more real estate for your hand. A little bit more weight tames that snappiness just a tad. Even though we're getting slightly bigger, and only slightly bigger from previous models, it is welcomed. LCP is going to come with 2 magazines and a nylon holster, pocket holster, which isn't the best in the world, but I use it. It's actually been a welcomed addition. I actually use it. When you're drawing from the pocket, Sometimes this will come out with it and you'll have to strip that off. Not a big deal. Sometimes it'll stay in your pocket. More than anything, it's a trigger guard, and that's what you need on a gun like this if you want to carry it chambered. All right, let's get into performance. How did this gun work out? This trigger and the sights alone make this gun a lot better to shoot. I did a lot of point shooting with this gun at close distances, and its natural point of aim was really, really nice. I prefer to use my sights whenever I can, but it was a lot of fun just to rip this thing out of the pocket and spray down a target. I shot the LCP better one-handed than I did two-handed. I'm not sure what that's about. I think it's just easier to use it one-handed instead of trying to find a place for my second hand to land safely on the frame. It's 380, but it's not that snappy. You just grip it and rip it, like I was saying. As I backed up with distance, the sights were kind of hitting a little low, like the groupings were low, and maybe I just need to raise that sight up a little higher in the rear sight to compensate a little bit. And when I said backing up, the furthest I got with this was maybe 20 yards. Everything else was nice and close, and that's kind of the intended purpose of this little guy. I thought for sure I'd have some reliability issues. There's not, in the past, a lot of 380s have not been the most reliable handguns, but I didn't have one malfunction with this handgun. The reliability was great. Really nothing to complain about. I ran some Hornady critical defense in it, ran some different types of ball, everything ran in this little Ruger LCP MAX. Okay, so where, like I said, roles and purpose, where does this fit in for me? And it has a very small role, right? But it is an important role, I think. So basically what it comes down to, and it's as simple as this: if I'm not wearing a belt, if I don't have the ability to wear a belt or have a belt on, this is probably going to be the best option I have. Even better than a J-frame, maybe, just for concealability and weight. That might be a very limited role because I wear a belt the majority of the time, and if I'm wearing a belt, I'm going to carry the largest gun with the highest capacity that I shoot the best. For me, that's a Glock 19, sometimes it's a Glock 45, and I want to be able to perform as best as possible if I need to. The other role that this fits for me, when I'm not carrying it, so you would consider this probably off body, is on my e-bike. So I have an electric bike and I have a pack that's strapped to the front of it, and this slips right into that little fanny pack on the front. And when I'm out cruising the neighborhood or just taking like a joyride, I have a handgun, spare magazine, some medical, and some mace in there. So I'm not completely, defenseless. I don't have to worry about stuff falling out of my pockets. I can just hop on my e-bike with some gym shorts or no pants if I'm feeling sassy and just cruise around the neighborhood. So, all in all, really impressed with this gun. I had no reason in my mind to like it. A lot of you had suggested it in previous videos that you liked carrying it, that it was improved, that it was a viable option now for self-defense when it might not have been previously. So it piqued my interest. I reached out to Ruger, they sent me this, and I'm glad I reached out because this changed my mind about guns, this style of gun. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't like to just review a gun. There's a million reviews, literally a million reviews on the Ruger LCP MAX. I want to know, I want to get in your guys' heads, what's the role? What's the purpose? Not just specs and do you like it, right? What is the meaning? What is the purpose of this firearm? And I think I figured it out for myself, but again, I want to hear from you guys. Remember those two questions I asked in the beginning? Please answer those. Really, really would love to hear from you. Ruger LCP MAX, good job, Ruger. You did a good job. Guys, if you want to support us, go to wisemencompany.com. That's the best way to support us. We have a ton of great gear over there at wisemencompany.com. We got nylon gear. We got gear for everyday carry. It directly supports us. We don't get money from companies to make these reviews. We simply are interested in this stuff, want to help you guys out, And if you can support us to help make more videos, great. So wisemancompany.com. My name is Ben. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video.